It's taken 8 seasons, but we are finally here. We are in the Premier League, from the Vanarama National League all the way up to the main big league. And we've got a bit of money to spend and we've got a bit of wage budget to use. I need to make a decision. Do I just take the money and accept relegation, or do I actually try and make a fight of it? Let's see what happens in season 9 of the Solihull Moors Road to Glory. Welcome to the video, everybody. Welcome to season 9 with Solihull Moors. And our little array of trophies up here are starting to fill out a little bit. Bearing in mind, I think all we had was the Vanarama National League North trophy on here. Since then, we've added 2 Bristol Street Motors trophies, a Vanarama National League, Sky Bet League 2, Sky Bet League 1 and Sky Bet Championship. We might not have gone up at the first time of asking in League 2, League 1 or the Championship, but when we did go up, we went up as the winners of the division. As a result of that, our club value is estimated to be £228 million. Now, I'm going to put a screenshot on screen round about now, or a couple of them, where we've had emails about potential Tycoon takeovers. There's meant to be this Chinese billionaire or whatever he was that's going to come in and invest loads of money into the club. Got me quite excited because at one point it actually seemed like it was going to happen. We was put under a transfer embargo and all this, which didn't please me entirely, because being under a transfer embargo when we're trying to prepare for our first season in the Premier League, not ideal, I have to say. But luckily that transfer embargo didn't last long and the talks did collapse. So yeah, I continue to wish that I could have this Tycoon takeover that you see so many other people get, but unfortunately it's still not happened for me. As a result though, we have recently improved our youth recruitment. They're not prepared to do the junior coaching yet, so the youth level is still very much below par. Youth facilities have been improved. We have great youth facilities now, 3.5 stars, and we are working on training facilities, so hopefully that should go up to 3 stars very soon as well. Now, if we have a look at the transfers first, because let's face it, that's what you're really here for. And we'll go back to the end of last season. As you know, when it gets to the end, to April, and we get that email that the Premier League clubs have released their promising young stars that they don't feel are any good for them, I always go in for them, always get quite a few of them. We bung them in under 21s, 1 or 2 might make it into the first team. This season, we only got one. His name is Connor Monty from Liverpool. He looks very decent. He's 2-star current ability with 4 to 5-star potential. He is out injured at the moment with a dislocated shoulder. He's out for a couple of months. But he's certainly a player that could even feature for us this season if we have a bit of a crisis up front, that is. But all the others were like 1-star to half a star current ability with 2.5 to 3.5 star potential. And in recent years, I may have bought them in just to have them around, but I just didn't see the point this time. So yeah, this is the only free transfer from that side of things that we've picked up. Then we move over to when the current season came in. Mamadou Sarr, as you all know, left the club to go to Levante for £6.25 million. We've had quite a few players that have gone out on loan. Capel Richardson has gone out on loan. There is an optional fee for him for £92,000. I think it's more than that, but there's an optional future fee. He's running out of contract at the end of the season, so we're not going to be getting anything for him, but they are paying the majority of his wages. Richard Farrell has gone out to Stevenage on loan. He's been a pretty good squad player for us since he arrived, but he's not really up to standard, so he's gone out on loan. There is an optional future fee of £185,000. I don't think he runs out of contract at the end of this year. No, he does. He's got a couple of years left on his contract. But as you can see, he has been 2 to 2.5 stars previously, but due to us improving our squad, he has gone down to 1.5 star, and he has pretty much no determination. So if we get a bit of money for him, if he impresses at Stevenage, wonderful, wonderful stuff. Mohamed Akoto has gone to Woking on loan as well. Again, there's no option on his contract or anything like that. It's just they're paying his wages, same as Stevenage and Aberdeen. Basically, we got in a position where we were slightly overspent on our wage budget. So I sent a load of players like Ian Holder, Jordan Jones, all these lot out on loan so that the other clubs would pay a percentage of their wages and it would get our wage budget down. And as a result of doing that, we have just about managed to get to within our wage budget. Let's get into the players in. We have spent £29 million. I've been splashing the cash. Bearing in mind, our previous highest transfer fee spent was for Lishano Simons from Sparta Rotterdam for 1.6 million. We've absolutely blown that to smithereens. I have still picked up a couple of free transfers and a real bargain. Jackson Chachua from Solihull has come in. He is a right back. He's going to be our number one right back. He can play central defence as well, even though he can't head. He is 6'1" and he's not very good at jumping either. He can also play at left back. He can play a bit further up if you want to do a 3 at the back formation with wing backs. He can do the right, left side of that. So yeah, he is a really good player from Solihull and previously played for Borussia Mönchengladbach as well for a season. So I'm very happy to have him here. 4-star current, 4.5-star potential. Then another free signing, Vasilis Torresladis is our backup goalkeeper who could well end up being a number one goalkeeper because he's very close to being at the same level as Noah Cooper, our current number one, and he has far more potential as well. 6'2", can use both feet. He looks really good. To get him in on a free transfer, I think we've done very well for ourselves there. He's already got a valuation of up to around £9 million. Chachua has a valuation of up to £12.5 million. If we look at their contract, he has got a minimum fee release clause for clubs in the UEFA Champions League for £11.25 million, and there's also a relegation release clause in there. All these release clauses that are in their contracts, I had no option. They locked them in. They wouldn't allow me to take them out. Barry Flower potentially could be our biggest signing. Centre-back, can play the anchor role in midfield as well. He is going to be our centre-back. He's also going to be our vice-captain. He's got leadership of 15. 4.5-star current with 4.5-star potential for us. Obviously, these stars are only this high because of the squad that he's in. If he was in, say, the Arsenal squad, for example, it'd probably be 2 to 2.5 stars, something like that. But he's 6'1". He's got good jumping reach. Can't really head a ball, but he is pretty much 2-footed. So yeah, he's here and looking good for us. And our best, if you played him as a ball-playing defender, he would be our best one. Then we have Alan Berthaud from Estrella for £550,000. I think this is a really good bargain. He's a anchor for us in that midfield. He's an upgrade on Jake Garrett, who is here as a backup option. Barry Flower would be a better option in that role, but like I say, Barry Flower's going to be playing in our defence. He's got really good passing, bravery, decisions, vision, natural fitness. He feels like a really good signing. Valuation of £8.2 million or as high as. Again, I really like that signing. I think for £550,000, we've done pretty well for ourselves. Then we also have Matthew Henderson Hall, also from Cardiff, the same as Barry. Barry Flowers, we'll just call him Barry. Can play on the right, can play on the left. He will play on the right-hand side for us. He's basically Capel Richardson's replacement. And yeah, he's cost us a lot of money. He's worth up to £23 million. If we have a look at his contract, he's got a minimum fee release clause, again for clubs in UEFA Champions League, for £23.5 million. If someone wants to come in and give us £23.5 million for him, I will snap their hands off. It will be a big loss, don't get me wrong, because he does look a really good player. But like I say, I will snap their hands off. All in all, that means if we have a look at the finances, we do still have £14.4 million in the transfer budget. Our wage budget, we've got about £1,500 in the wage budget, so we have nowhere near enough money to be able to bring anybody in. And at the moment, I've not tried to adjust it so that I get a little bit less transfer budget but more wage budget. We're kind of having a look at what's going on in January because we might want to spend a little bit more of this in January. I don't really want to keep it there for next season because then I feel like I'm not going to get much from the board, but we'll see how we get on. We're £7.2 million in debt. We have actually been making money recently, not really sure how, but now that we're in the Premier League, we're hoping to see our balance get better and better. Finances are okay. Dynamics, team cohesion is good. Club atmosphere is average. Managerial support is very good. I've had a lot of players coming to me because they want new contracts. I've basically just had to tell them that I can't offer them a new contract. The ones that have recently asked me, I genuinely cannot offer them a new contract because I don't have the money for it. And there's other players, like Capel Richardson, for example. Richard Farrell's another one. I don't want to offer them a new contract. They're not good enough. So they just need to go, really. But Tyrese Hullett is not particularly happy because he wants a deal to reflect his ability. Claudio Taccardi also wants a deal to reflect his ability. He's got 4 teammates that agree with him. At the moment, it doesn't seem to be affecting us too much in terms of our performances on the pitch because we are doing reasonably well. We haven't got off to a scintillating start or anything like that. We had decent pre-season. Unfortunately, Lewis Kumas is out injured. He's not played for us since the season started. But we started the season off away from home against Brighton and won 3-1. Tyrese Hullett getting a goal. Lewis Jones, who's Lewis Kumas's backup in the striker department, he's picked up 2 goals. A 3-1 win. Lovely start to the season. Then we played Bournemouth in the Premier League away from home. A 1-1 draw in that game. We did go 1-0 down, but Teddy Rowe getting the equaliser for us. Then we played West Ham and another 1-1 draw in this game. We went 1-0 up through Lewis Jones, but then basically immediately Edson Alvarez equalised for West Ham. Then we played the Carabao Cup second round against Coventry City. We are at home. Coventry City are Championship. 23rd in the Championship. We did have a fully rotated team for this game. We won 2-1. Prosper Nati and Matthew Henderson Hall getting his first ever goal for the club. Then we come up against our first, what I would class as real big team of the season, Tottenham, and we weren't anywhere near them. They beat us 2-0. It wasn't painful to watch, but it wasn't particularly comfortable either. We have been drawn against Manchester City in the third round of the Carabao Cup. I suspect we're going to go out of that game. And the way football works in general, not just in Football Manager, but real life as well, we then play Manchester City 4 days later in the league. In the league is away from home. Coming up in terms of current fixtures, we have Brentford, Aston Villa, Leicester, Palace and Arsenal. November's going to be a very tricky month for us with Arsenal, Man United and Liverpool in that month. Brentford have actually got off to a very good start as well. They're 4th in the league. In terms of where Villa are, they're currently 5th, Leicester are 8th and Palace are 17th. But obviously it's early days. If we have a look at the Premier League table, we can see here we sit in 12th position with 1 win, 2 draws, 1 defeat from our opening 4 games. If we repeat that in our next 4 and end up 8 games played, 2 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats, 10 points, I will be pretty chuffed with that. If we have a look at the table, let's just go back in time to see how many points you've needed to avoid relegation. So last season, 32 points would have done it. The season before that, 31 points, 32, 33, 37, 33, 36, 34. Anything between 31 and 36 points seems to be where you're going to be safe. We will aim for 40. That has always been the magical landmark if you get to 40 points. So yeah, if we get to 10 points after 8 games, then I'll be relatively pleased with that. We're not in a relegation fight at the moment. We're not anywhere near that zone. We are only 4 points away from it, mind. But in terms of league positions, there's plenty of teams between us. So yeah, it's looking pretty decent from that side of things. If we have a look at staffing, we have filled out all of our staffing now, all our physios, sports scientists, scouts, coaches, all this sort of stuff. Our scouting needs a lot of improvement, but we have got quite a few scouts that are leaving at the end of this season. So we will, the ones that are no good, we'll let them leave at the end of their contract and then we'll just bring in new ones. Our coaching is looking pretty decent, to be honest. But again, it's just going to be a case of when people leave, we'll bring in better ones. That way we haven't got to pay compensation to get them out the door or anything like that. And again, the same with our physio department. I do need to make a decision as well, by the way, on Laura Brown, because I've mentioned her a few years ago. She's my highest paid staff member. She's on £3,900 a week, which is more than any other staff. Only I earn more money than her, basically. She's a head physio. She's been here with us since Sky Bet League 2. And I've just kind of kept her around because she's fine at her job, basically. She does run out of contract at the end of next season. But when you actually look at her attributes, she's only got 14 for physiotherapy, 10 for sports science. She's not really good enough to be here. When you look at her other physios that could take her place, This guy here's got 20 for physiotherapy. This guy here has got 19 and 15 for sports science. This guy's got 16 and 15 for sports science. You kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. She's got a 30% pay rise in her contract. So at the end of this season, she's going to be like nearly £5,000 a week, which quite honestly, I don't think we could really afford it, especially for someone that's not actually very good. But I have a bit of a soft spot for people that I like to keep around, that have been here for a little while. Hence the fact that if we have a look at the tactics screen, I've still got players in here like Teddy Rowe. I mean, Teddy Rowe's decent. Ryan McArdle's decent as well. He has dropped down to what he was. But again, if you look at Ryan McArdle, he's been with us since League One. Teddy Rowe has been with us since League Two. I'm pretty certain of that. Yeah, he's been with us since League Two. He is a club captain as well. And there's a few of them in here that I probably need to stop being sentimental about it and letting them go. But anyway, that is where we are at the moment. In terms of the club vision, attempt to avoid relegation. So, like I say, if we do get relegated, we'll get parachute payments next season anyway. And hopefully it'll be a case of we'll have a good enough squad to be able to just bounce straight back up again, or at least make a decent fight of getting straight back up. They're pleased with us being competitive in the Carabao Cup. They want us to be competitive in the FA Cup. Sign players under the age of 20 for the future. That is a new one, actually. I haven't noticed that before. They're very disappointed in that. But I think I've proven that I do a lot of signing young players. So I'm not going to... Maybe we do need to sign the players that come from that email in April. Anyway, we'll have another look just at this screen here. Remind ourselves we're 12th in the table. And let's move forward into part two to see if we're managing to stay around where we are, or are we actually in a relegation battle? We are lower half of the table. I was going to say mid-table, but we're probably a couple of places away from mid-table. But we are 14th in the Premier League, 25 games played, 7 wins, 7 draws, 11 defeats, a goal difference of -9, 28 points on the board. Remember, the magic target is 40 points. So we're, 4 wins away from 40 points? I don't know if we're going to get to that much, but it might also be that we don't need 40 points because Ipswich, who are in 18th place, they're on 20 points, as are Wolves, who are 17. I can't see them getting too many more points this season. They've not been particularly good. But this season has not been without pain, let me tell you that. At one point, it was thoroughly miserable. We were just losing and losing and losing. We kind of have this schedule where we've played a lot of the really good teams all in one go. And when we have then played a team that's maybe not as good, and morale has just been so low. We had the dreaded email that I stick to the same formation. I still stuck to it. I didn't change from it because I believed in that formation, in that tactic. But then we came up with some games where it was a run of games where they were all very winnable games against the likes of Bristol City, Southampton, Ipswich, Wolves, all that sort of stuff. And that's where we was able to pick up some wins and a few draws and rescue our season a little bit. We have actually had one very surprising result. We actually beat Chelsea in the league 4-1. They were 4th at the time, I believe. Man City are top. They are the team that put us out of the Carabao Cup, but we played them in the league straight afterwards. And they just taught us a lesson. I'll show you the stats to it in a moment. But yeah, we're out of the FA Cup as well. We played Accrington Stanley in the 3rd round. We won that game, but then we lost to Liverpool in the 4th round. So no cup run for us this season. In terms of finances, we have £9 million in the bank, nearly £9.5 million. We have a transfer budget of 12.1 million left remaining. We have bought one player in the transfer window. We'll get to that in a moment. And I have had to increase our wage budget as the season's gone on as well, for the odd contract that I've had to give. So we do still have £26,000 in our current wage budget, but yeah, that has had to go up. If we have a look at the transfers section, a couple of players have gone out on loan. Connor Monty, who was a youngster striker that came in for us from Liverpool in the summer, he's gone out on loan to Wycombe Wanderers, and Nicky Edwards has gone to Carlisle on loan. He can play left, right, up top. He's probably never going to make an appearance. Obviously, he runs out of contract at the end of the season, but they offered to pay 20% of his wages, which worked out to be about £150, something silly like that. So, yeah, he's gone out on loan. The player we have bought in, Aral Simsir of FC Midtjylland, is on a free transfer. He ran out of contract on the 31st of December, and he's just a useful option to have. He can play right, he can left, up top, he can play in the cam role if we decide to play that. He's come in. He's not had a particularly good most recent game for us against Brentford, where we lost 3-0. But he has got a goal for us in 5 appearances. Let's see what he can do. He's basically competition for Therese Hullett on the left-hand side. And yeah, so that's the sign we've made. A free transfer, nothing exotic or exciting or anything like that. But he can do a job for us. If we have a look at the schedule, the last time you was with me was... Where am I going? It was just before we played Manchester City in the League Cup. We lost that game on penalties, 2-2 draw, and then we went out on penalties. Then we played them in the league, and we got beaten 3-0. Archie Brown, Phil Foden and Josko Gvardiol with all 3 goals before the end of the first half. But like I say, if we have a look at the stats, we had 3 shots at goal, none on target, an XG of 0.45, 42% possession, an average rating of 6.40. They had 25 shots at goal, 13 on target, an XG of 3.57, 58% possession and 7.37 overall rating. They were just very, very good. We were just very, very bad. Matthew Henderson, Hall and Lewis Kumas getting a red rating. Lashano Simons almost getting a red rating. I mean, Noah Cooper, a goalkeeper who also got injured, he broke his hand. He got a 7.9 because he was the only player that actually... It was like a wall in front of the Manchester City attack, quite honestly. But yeah, if we have a look at the injuries as well, we really went through it. When Noah Cooper picked up his broken hand, if we can filter it by dates and find him... Where is he? Noah Cooper. He got his broken hand, so we brought Jamie Butts into the team as our backup goalkeeper. So we had our backup goalkeeper was our number 1, and then we had Jamie Butts as our backup to the backup. He then got injured as well with a pectoral strain, keeping him out for a couple of weeks. So we then had to go into the under-18s and bring in a backup to the backup to the backup of the backup. So yeah, it was a bit of a worrying time with goalkeeping at that stage. Most days missed. Claudio Tacardi, 87 days with 3 injuries. Lewis Kumas has really suffered as well. 85 days with 6 injuries. Noah Cooper, 57 days with 3 injuries. Ryan McArdle's been out 40 days with 5 injuries. As you can see from this chart here, since August, we've just had more injuries this season than we had last season. And it's been really rather a nuisance, to be quite honest. So, yeah, going back to the schedule then, we then played Brentford and lost 3-2 to them. And then we lost 2-0 to Aston Villa. At this point, things were not looking particularly good for us. Since the start of the season, we had a win in a cup game against Coventry City. But other than that, and we'd won against Brighton in the league on the opening game of the season. But since then, we'd had, what, 3, 4, or... Hang on, where are we going? We had 2 draws here. Then we had a defeat. Then we had another defeat, another defeat, another defeat. And it was just like, this is where it was just getting hard work because it just felt like it was never going to end. Then we got a draw against Leicester. Then we got a draw against Crystal Palace. Then we come up against Arsenal. And straight away, I'm thinking, oh, here we go, another defeat. To be fair, they were 10th in the league at the time. We got a draw against Arsenal, but then we lost to Manchester United. We'd gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games at this point without a win. And 6 of them games had been defeats. And it was just thoroughly miserable. All the players were unhappy. Morale was through the floor. Players were moaning about everything under the sun. Even the emails coming through were negative. When we had these 5 defeats in a row, we had an email come through saying Solihull Moors lose 5 in a row. When we drew the game against Leicester, I thought we might get an email saying that our losing run had come to an end. But no, the email changed to 6 games without a win. So even that was negative. And yeah, it just weren't very good. Then we got a win against Leeds and we won 2-1. Then we played Liverpool in the league at Anfield and got spanked 4-1. Jamal Musiala plays for them. He got a hat-trick. Then we came up against kind of fixtures and we played Southampton, who, as we know, are 19th in the league. Beat them 3-1. We got a 1-0 win away from home against bottom of the table Bristol City. Then we played Wolves, who were in and around the relegation zone. We beat them 2-1. But then we come up against Manchester City again and we lost to them 3-1 at home. We then lost 1-0 to Newcastle at home. We then beat Chelsea. This was a surprising scoreline. We beat Chelsea 4-1. Then we come up against Ipswich. Again, we should really have won, but we didn't. We drew 1-1. But then we beat Bournemouth 2-0 before a FA Cup game against Accrington Stanley that we won 3-1. Then we beat Brighton. We didn't beat Brighton. We lost to Brighton 3-1. Then we lost to Tottenham 1-0. We then drew with West Ham 1-1. We lost to Liverpool 1-0 and we lost to Brentford 3-0. So after that little mini run here, we have now again gone 5 games without a win, 4 defeats and a draw in them games. What's given me a little bit of hope is we have Aston Villa next to her 11th, but then we play Leicester who are 15th, Palace who are 13th. We'll forget about Arsenal and Manchester United, but then we play Leeds who are 9th. Liverpool we'll forget about as well, they're 4th. But then this is the little period here. We have Southampton 19th, Bristol City 20th, Wolves 17th and Ipswich 18th. That might be where we're looking for our 4 wins. Hopefully we can pick up a win somewhere in amongst all this. But that bit at the end of the season might be what saves our bacon. So as it is at the moment, 14th in the league, 28 points, 8 points outside the relegation zone. Just avoid relegation. That's all we need to do. And if we look at the Dev Centre, we've had a preview of our youth intake. It says excellent intake. At least one of our goalkeepers looks a great prospect, but everything else, to be fair, looks absolutely rubbish. So that is not going to be excellent. I'm assuming that's going to end up saying below average, but we might get a decent, promising goalkeeper out of it. Who knows? So if we go and look at the dynamic screen, team cohesion is good. Club atmosphere is average. That was poor at one point earlier on in the season. It was deep in the red and it was not looking good. Managerial support is excellent. In terms of the club vision, I mean, this board alert takeover in progress has been here all season. It's because the owner's looking to sell. We keep getting things come through. The latest one was that there may be an investor looking to invest in the club and float it on the stock exchange. We're going through the whole range of emails, quite honestly. Sign players under the age of 20 for the future. They're very disappointed with that. Everything else, the board is on course, pleased or passed with. When you look at the support, so the board are giving us a B. The support's been a bit more harsh, to be fair. They're giving us a C+. But they are pleased with everything, and we're, again, pleased and passed with all of this. So I'm not really sure why they're a C+, whereas the board are a B. But at the end of the day, it's the board that will sack us or not. If we have a look at some quick stats, we are 9th best for goals scored. We scored, so at least we're top half of the table for goals scored. We're 7th worst for goals conceded, which is roughly around where we are anyway. Lewis Jones, their top goal scorer, just 8 goals. Highest average rating is Matthew Henderson-Hall, our star right inside forward rather. Teddy Rowe with the most assists, just 5. Barry Flower with the best pass completion with 94%. Lewis Jones with the most player of the match awards with 3. Most yellow cards, we have Alex Adam, Barry Flower, Matthew Henderson-Hall. We do pick up a lot of yellow cards. But we've not had anyone with a red card. This is the little league position here as to where we've been in the table. And as you see, we've kind of stuck around where we are at the moment. We did flirt a little bit higher here, but then we just dropped back down a little bit. But yeah, 13th, 14th seems to be our average at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll move over to part 3 of the video. And the question is, have we avoided relegation? We've not just survived, we have finished top of the bottom half of the Premier League. 11th place, 38 games played, 13 wins, 8 draws, 17 defeats. I mean, we have lost nearly half of our games this season. A goal difference of -10, which hurts a lot. And 47 points, actually level on points with Leeds, who finished 9th. That's what a good season we've had. And we eventually managed to finish 16 points outside of the relegation zone. So, yeah, I put that down as a very, very successful season. And let me tell you now, the good news does not stop there. We've had some really good news coming through in for this part of the video. Let's go to the schedule first though, and let's have a look at where we were when you were last with me. We just played Brentford, the transfer window closed, and we had Aston Villa up next. It was at home. We drew 1-1, Teddy Rowe with the goal in that game for us. Then we played Leicester and disappointingly lost 3-2 to Leicester. I was kind of looking at winning the games against Leicester and Crystal Palace, but we lost this. Matthew Henderson hauled over 2 goals for us. Then we had Crystal Palace at home and we won 1-0. Ryan McArdle with the goal and a nice little clean sheet to go with it. That doesn't happen very often, let me tell you. Then we played Arsenal and lost 3-0 away from home. Michael van Leuven, Cody Gakpo and Declan Rice scoring for them. Manchester United were up next, and this is a game I was not expecting to win, but we did. 2-1. Callum Logan and Matthew Henderson Hall picking up the goals for us in that game. Leeds were next, and we were away from home in this one. Aral Simsir, our new signing in January, getting on the score sheet, along with Ryan McArdle and Alex Adam, in a very nice 3-1 win. Then we played Liverpool, and unsurprisingly, we lost 3-0. We then played Southampton, and this was a bit of a blow because I was expecting to win this game, but we lost 2-1 away from home. We then beat the worst team in the Premier League, Bristol City, 2-0, Teddy Rowe and Matthew Henderson Hall. Then we played Wolves, and we beat them 3-1. They had a player sent off on the 59th minute. By then, Alan Bertod had put us 1-0 up, and they then equalised before Ryan McArdle and Tyrese Hullett then made it 2-1 and 3-1 respectively. Newcastle, who I think were about 3rd or 4th in the league at the time, they've also got Victor Gyökeres playing for them. They beat us 4-0. Chelsea next up. They may have even won the league. I can't quite remember. But Leo Shahar getting sent off yet again. It's not the first time in his career he's been sent off for us. And they had 2 penalties. We actually took the lead in the first minute, but then we gave away 2 penalties towards the end of the game. And it wasn't meant to be. We lost 2-1. Then we played Ipswich on the final game of the season and went out with a plum. 2 goals from Ryan McArdle, 1 for Aral Simsir, 1 for Patsy Morrissey and 1 for Lewis Kumas. Finished our Premier League season. And when we look at the table in more detail, you'll see that we scored 52, we conceded 62. So we do need to work on both our attack and our defence going into next season. But this was a very, very good season, excuse me. Our home record, we were here, we won 8, drew 5, lost 6. Our away record, we won 5, drew 3, lost 11. So we were much better at home than we was away from home. If we look at the first half of the season, we were mid-table-ish, 6 wins, 6 draws, 7 defeats. And then we look at the second half of the table, 7 wins, 2 draws, 10 defeats. We have 23 points there. How many points do we get for our first half of the season? 24. So it's a pretty even split, actually, to be fair. And yeah, that is the way it finished. In terms of the league, Liverpool won the league. Manchester City came second. Newcastle third. Tottenham fourth, getting the Champions League spots. Chelsea fifth, currently in the Europa League. Obviously, if they get the extra position, then they will get the Champions League. Conference League is for Manchester United. Arsenal could potentially get a Conference League spot and Man United upgraded to a Europa League spot depending on the coefficient rankings. Ipswich, Southampton, Bristol City are relegated. In terms of the teams that are coming up, let's have a look at who is coming up. Norwich and West Brom will be going up along with either Hull or Sheffield United. So there you have it. We've also had a youth intake come in, and we've actually had a very decent talent come in. We've got an elite talent. We haven't had one of these for a couple of seasons. Jake Smith, an attacking midfielder on the right-hand side that can also play as a striker. We'd get him training as an inside forward on this right-hand side. 16 years old, 1.5-star current ability with 4 to 5-star potential. Very nice. I'm glad to have him here. In actual fact, while I think about it, we've got him there as an advanced forward on attack. Do we want to leave him as an advanced forward? I think we will, actually. I think I'll trust my assistant manager to get that right. We've had a couple of top talents, a goalkeeper and a central midfielder that can also play in the more defensive area of the midfield. Ethan Rowe and Andrew Barber, something like that. And then these are rubbish, basically. But it's been a decent intake, if not amazing, but I'm very happy that we've got an elite talent. Right, the other thing I need to show you, and I'm going to put a screenshot on screen round about now. We've had it's not a Tycoon takeover. It's a local entrepreneur businessman. I'm going to call it a Tycoon takeover though, because he came in and he's put the club on the stock exchange. So we're now a PLC, Solihull Moors PLC. It brought in about 35 million pound extra money into our bank balance, which was very, very nice indeed. And on top of all that, he's agreed to upgrade our training facilities. His name's Gavin King, as you've probably seen on the email. He's a very, very nice person by the looks of it. And then we get to the budgets that he set for the new season. We've got a 64 million pound transfer budget. That is just incredible. I mean, we had, I think it was just over 30 million for our first season in the Premier League. We've now got 64.2 million pound. We've also got 55.5 million pound in the bank. I've never seen that amount of money in our bank account. Our wage budget is 650,000 pounds. So we will be putting some of this into here. I'm probably going to look at trying to raise this up by about 150,000 pounds to around 800,000. And yeah, we are no longer a poor club. We've actually been doing pretty decently for money all season, even before Gavin arrived. But yeah, now we're just doing it. And we haven't even had the money come in for the start of the new season and all that sort of stuff yet. So that is likely to be getting even better. Right, what else do I need to show? We'll quickly show you dynamics. Team cohesion is good. Club atmosphere is good. Managerial support is excellent. We have players that are looking like they want to leave. We do have players, if we filter this by expiry date, we have, 5 players in here whose contracts run out at the end of this season. We are going to be letting them go. Max Mulligan, Isaac Marino, Ian Holder, Capel Richardson and João Vasconcelos. They will all be leaving the club. That will take our squad, if we have a look at how many players we've got in the squad at the moment, that will take our squad, we've got 28 at the moment, so it'll take it to 24. We've also got Richard Farrell, who will have another season here with us, but we're going to look to either sell him or send him out on loan. And then what I'm also going to do is anybody that I think we can move on, we're probably just going to move on. So if you have a look at who might be wanted on this list, Prosper Nati, he's only wanted on loan, I think. Yeah, he's wanted on loan. Leo Shahar, he's wanted on transfer by Bristol City and Rotherham. So we've got £10 million as an asking price for him. If someone wants to give us £7.5 million for him, I will sell him. Matt Owens, I don't really want to let him go because he's a very good young player for us. But again, he is wanted. If we get a few million for him, who knows, he could end up going. Barry Flower is not for sale. He's probably our best player. If we look at it by ability, yes, he is our best player, along with Henderson Hall. Both of these we bought in last season, of course. So, yeah, we have also raided the under 21, not the under 21s, the email you get at the beginning of April where Premier League clubs release their players. We have raided that, and I think there's one player we're looking at bringing in. Basically, I had a rule that I weren't going to bring anybody in unless they were 5-star potential, like 4 with the 5th-star grade out, or white, whatever colour you want to call it. And there was only one player that matched that. I think it was only one player. Might have been 2. We'll have a look at that in part 1 of next week's video. But yeah, there you go. What we'll do now is we'll move on through the game. There you go. That's the email we had about the budgets being set. We'll move on through the game. I'll come back when we got the emails come in about the support profile update and all that. And then we'll do the end of season review. But that doesn't happen very often. We've had the end of season review come through before the email about the supporters profile and all that. So there you go. No lovely little trophy on here for us as well. Went out of the cup competitions pretty early on too. But the new arrivals, Matthew Henderson Hall came in for £16 million, a big money signing of the summer from Cardiff. Both the big money signings came in from Cardiff. 39 appearances, 9 goals, 7 assists at 6.88. Not a bad first season. Nothing spectacular, but not a bad first season. Barry Flower has picked up our sign of the season. Because it's a new board, they're not having any reaction to who we've bought. He's coming in for 15.25 million from Cardiff. 41 appearances, 2 goals, no assists at 6.80. Alan Bertod has come in from Estrella for £550,000. Probably bargain of the season, I'd say. 41 appearances, 4 goals, 1 assist at 6.72. I think all 4 goals may have been penalties. Errol Simsir coming in from FC Midtjylland on a free transfer in January. 19 appearances, 18 starts, 4 goals, 4 assists at 6.70. Considering he's only just arrived, I don't think that's bad at all, actually. Then Jackson Chachua has come in from Charleroi. 38 appearances, no goals, 1 assist at 6.70 for a 30-year-old attacking fullback. We will need to find an upgrade on him because he is 30 years old, but he's done a very good job for us this season. And Vasilis Torosiadis, our backup goalkeeper from Arsenal on a free transfer, 23 years old, 7 appearances, unsurprisingly, no goals and no assists, 6.54. Not a particularly good average rating, but there you go. In terms of players out, we'll just quickly breeze through these. Jay Ben has gone to Arbroath. I'm pleased for him. He's gone to Arbroath. 20 appearances, no goal, but he has got an assist and he's got a 7.07. He will always have a place in my heart, Jay Ben. John Hamill went to Forfar, a goalkeeper. 15 appearances, 7.05. Cameron Plain is a regular at Leyton Orient. Oliver Tipton is not a regular at QPR. QPR, are they in the Premier League? No, they're in the Championship. Okay. Where do we get to? Colin Oliver went to Derby. I think he may have gone to Derby on loan, not quite sure. Then we get Mamadou Sarr went to Levante for 6.25 million and they barely ever used him. And Ty Soji is without a club, which is sad for him, but not entirely surprising. The loans are what the loans are. We've had several players go out on loan and they've, on the whole, been getting some first team football, so fair play to them. Then we get to the season to remember. Board expectation, attempt to avoid relegation from the Premier League. We've got an A rating after finishing 11th. We fill out our stadium every single game, which is not a surprise. The fact that this is the one thing that could potentially hold us back, because 12,261 capacity is obviously not a big stadium, and because the stadium's only about 3 seasons old, we're not going to get a new stadium for probably another 20 years. And this series will not be going on in 20 years' time, I can tell you that much. If we haven't won the Premier League and the Champions League by then I would have just given up on the save that we can't go any further, which is actually something that could happen, to be fair. I will probably at the end of next season, I'll ask them if we can expand the stadium to see. I might even ask at the start of this new season, end of this season, to see if my new friend Gavin fancies putting a bit of money into that. Top goal scorer for Solihull Moors, Ryan McCardle and Matthew Henderson Hall. That tells you everything you need to know about our strikers. Lewis Kumas, I feel sorry for, because he's just not really got going this season. He's been hampered so much by injuries, and that's affected his ability to get on any kind of run, really. Lewis Jones is a young, promising striker, but I just don't think they're cut out for this level. So a striker is high on my agenda for next season. In terms of the FA Cup, Teddy Rowe, Lewis Jones and Matt Owens with 1 goal apiece in our 2 matches that we played. We beat Accrington Stanley, then lost to Liverpool. In the Carabao Cup, McCardle, Vacancelos, Prosperity and Matthew Henderson Hall all scoring 1 goal apiece in our wins against Coventry and then our defeat against Manchester City, albeit on penalties. Get to moments to remember. The biggest win was a 5-1 win against, so we saved that till the last game of the season. The match to remember was a 3-1 win against Brighton, and the goal of the season came from Teddy Rowe, a perfect finish to an excellent team move by scoring a well-struck effort from 26 metres in our 1-1 draw with Aston Villa. In terms of the finances, most of it has gone up. Matchday and commercial retail has gone down slightly, but competition prize money, I mean, this is what you get for the Premier League, because there's been no cup competitions, obviously no Champions League football or anything like that. But we've gone from 254,000 last season to 19.43 million this season. Corporate and hospitality has gone up slightly. Broadcast revenue has gone up massively from 2.97 to 91.43 million, and sponsorship has gone up by about £1 million as well. In terms of merchandise, £1.7 million made in merchandise, 17,004 shirts have been sold. Henderson Hall, Kumas, Aral Simsir, Rowe and Jones, the ones that have been more responsible for that. We're a 3-star national reputation team. Our best 11 according to the game is Cooper in goal, Adam left back, Chachoa right back, Logan and Flower in the centre of defence. I don't disagree with that. Berto, Rowe and McArdle in midfield. I don't disagree with that. Aral Simsir, Henderson Hall and Jones. The only thing I'd say is ordinarily I would have Lewis Kumas there, but I won't argue with Jones because he has been the backup for Kumas. And as you can see, he's had 37 appearances, 4 assists, 8 goals at 6.73. So there you have it. Right, in terms of record breakers, most league appearances by players, no longer Cameron Antwi. Teddy Rowe has that now with 301 appearances. Highest transfer fee paid, Barry Flower, 15.12 million. Highest transfer fee received, Mamadou Sarr, 6.33 million. And fastest goal for Lewis Kumas for 39 seconds. I won the Championship Manager of the Season last season. I've not won the Premier League Manager of the Season. I've not even won Manager of the Month. In terms of the player awards, Ryan McArdle is the player of the season. I do love this man, I really do. And he's not out of place in the Premier League either. If we have a look at his stats, he's actually, in terms of he had 11 goal contributions there. He's had 12 this season in less appearances. So that has improved. His average rating's gone down a little. But he first played for us in League One and he's still playing for us now in the Premier League. I love him a lot. Then we have Ryan McArdle as a young player of the season. The fact he's 24 years old, it'll be the last time he wins that. Sign of the season, Barry Flower. Goal of the season, Teddy Rowe. Top goal scorer, Ryan McArdle. I mean, I don't think when I bought him, I actually ever thought he'd be a top goal scorer, but there you have it. Most assists, Matthew Henderson Hall with 7. Most player of the match awards, Matthew Henderson Hall. Obviously, he has been a successful signing. Highest average rating is their goalkeeper, Noah Cooper, with a 6.9. He's actually done himself pretty proud this season. And most passes completed per 90 minutes, Lashano Simons for 67 passes completed per 90 minutes. History in the making. Solihull Moors looked sharp when they had to be in the middle of the season. Few have expected this outcome, but they gave themselves a chance and have reaped the rewards. Once Solihull Moors got rolling midway through the season, it looked hard to stop them finishing impressively overall. And obviously no trophies in there. And then we get to the manager timeline. And as I always say, the manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. And here are the emails that usually come up before the end of season review. But here they are anyway. Overall best 11, Jensen in goal, Newton left back, Ben right back, Tipton and Rooney in the middle, Antwi, Rowe and McArdle in the midfield, Hullett and Hagan out wide with Soji up front. I'm quite surprised we've not had any of our current ones added to it, but looking at the subs bench, they're not even. I mean, Bonfiglio's on the subs bench. So, yeah, there you go. That's what that is. Best 11, where are they now? Not really too worried about that. Supporter profile update. All looks like it stayed the same. The supporters' influence on the board, quite interestingly, has gone from moderate to low. And our social media following has gone up by £44,000. We have 11,065 supporters with season tickets and nobody on a waiting list yet. In terms of the club vision and expectation meeting, they want us to play possession football. They want us to play entertaining football, high tempo pressing football, work within wage budget. Oh, look at that. Expand the stadium. Right. I'm going to ask them to expand the stadium. So the board will not be judging you on this objective. Well, no, it's not down to me to expand the stadium. But that is awesome. Me and Gavin, we're on the same wavelength. He knew that I wanted the stadium expanded. We've got that psychic link. And now I'm impressed with Gavin. Squad dynamic. Oh, hang on, we need to accept that, don't we? So for next season, attempt to avoid relegation from the Premier Division. Training facilities improvements complete. They'll be completed in September, I think it is. And they're also improving the youth facilities as well. So, attempt to avoid relegation is what we say to the players when we get to the team meeting. And here we are at the team meeting. Thank you all for coming. Let's talk about the Premier Division. This season, the season's over and it's time for you all to go and have a well-deserved break. I want every single one of you to be fully rested in a good condition when you get back, because we're going to be in for a hard battle against relegation next year. And they're satisfied with that. Fair enough. That'll be all for now. We shall leave and they're happy. I like it when they're happy. Dynamics, by the way, good and excellent. I think I've already covered that anyway. End of season report, end of season break. Right, well, we could go to the US. We could go to Germany, Austria, South Africa, Scotland, Netherlands, Singapore, China. I'll tell you what, South Africa is a gorgeous country. I know that from my Unemployed Journeyman series, Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. And yeah, that is a gorgeous country. So do you know what? We're going to South Africa. There you go. Right, that I think pretty much concludes. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. If we have a look at the team stats, goals scored 52, 10th best. Goals conceded 62, 8th worst. 66 yellow cards is a worst disciplinary record. 1 red card, which is the 9th worst, and the lowest attendance. Oh, that's something I wanted to do actually, isn't it? I want to have a look at the board. Stadium, expand stadium. The board will need some time to discuss this, but we'll get back to you soon to let you know of their decision. I'll tell you what, I'm going to forward through the game a little bit and just see what they say, and I'll come back to you when I've got an answer from the board. Well, that didn't take long. I think it's the next day, maybe the same. Yeah, no, the next day, I think. The board have announced plans to enlarge the stadium by 7,654 seats. That's going to take us to just above, or just around, I think it's just above 20,000 as a total capacity. Initial estimates indicates that the planned work will cost around 9.25 million. It is expected that these works will take around 11 months to complete. While this development work is undertaken, the club will ground share with Aston Villa at Villa Park. And that is massive because their capacity, where's the capacity on here? 42,777. We'll be getting a large part of the gate receipts for this 42,777 attendance that we can potentially, and it'd be interesting to see how much of that we fill actually, because we're filling a current stadium. If we have a look at the Solihull Moors stadium at the moment, what are we on at the moment for attendance? Oh no, that's Villa Park. No, I want the Solihull Moors stadium. I think it's something like 12,261 or something like that, wasn't it? And the new one, yeah, I think it'll take us to around 20. It will take us to around, it might be 19,998 or something stupid like that. But it's basically a new stadium will be a 20,000 seater stadium. I love this. I'm a bit concerned by this, seeing that Flower has been linked with a move away from the club. They're saying 29 million. I mean, to be fair, 29 million for them, I probably would take that. But this is what we're ending with for the episode, folks. We are in the Premier League next season. We've got 60 odd million pounds to spend on new players. We're having our stadium expanded and we're going to be playing at Villa Park next season. Everything is looking absolutely awesome at Solihull Moors. And hopefully you'll join me next week for the next instalment, season 10 of The Save. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.